9 crazy eating habits of French kings and queens. 1. They drank hot chocolate with orange blossoms. Marie Antoinette arrived at the French court from Vienna. She brought along her personal chocolate chef. He whipped up chocolate with orange blossoms for her. It yielded a rich, citrusy flavor. 2. They feasted on poached truffles. The Palace of Versailles was a place for aristocrats. The courtiers tried to one-up each other with their menus. Marquis de Louvois' banquet featured poached truffles. It was a treat for the most privileged guests. However, in the past, aristocrats wouldn't eat truffles. Truffles came from the ground, so they had been considered to be peasant food. 3. They loved oysters too much. Getting oysters in Paris wasn't an easy feat. Fishermen and sellers developed a system over time. They got seafood to the markets early in the morning, so it could reach the aristocrats later in the day. Royal cooks maintained a ready supply of oysters. It was sometimes a stressful task. Chef François Vatel failed to get a delivery on schedule. He killed himself with his own sword because of it. 4. They had an appetite for novelty foods. Madame de Pompadour was Louis XV's mistress. She employed her own chef to entertain her guests. The chef prepared the stomachs of riverside birds. Royal cooks aimed to surprise their guests. One such dish was chicken in bagpipes. Chickens were cooked in lamb bladders. The cook was supposed to blow them up. 5. They pioneered champagne toasts on New Year's Eve. Champagne was invented in the 17th century. It was made following the techniques of a monk, Dom Pérignon. Champagne was a favorite wine of Louis XIV. Rumor has it he rang in the new year with champagne. This started a New Year's tradition that continues today. 6. They only drank special spring water. Queen Marie Antoinette was persnickety about her water. She drank from a spring at Ville d'Avray near Versailles. It was the only water that did not make her ill. She was even allowed this water when she was imprisoned. 7. They loved cakes soaked in wine. Nicholas Storer worked in the Polish royal court. He traveled to France with Princess Marie Leszczyńska. He introduced the baba cake to the Versailles court. It is a Polish bundt cake soaked in fortified wine. 8. They noshed on pastries filled with jam. The many-layered millefeuille is known as Napoleon's. It was a specialty of 18th century pastry chefs. It differed from the modern millefeuille in a key aspect. Instead of cream, 18th century chefs used jam. 9. They drank pumpkin soup out of pumpkins. Dinner for French elites was an aesthetic experience. How food was presented was part of the pleasure of dining. One 18th century cookbook holds a recipe for pumpkin soup. It was served in a pumpkin coated with meringue.